Hello, Grumpy Old Fart here. Take 2 on this video. Alright, for those of you who don't know, here a few weeks ago, the Navy came out and admitted that some gun camera and photographic pictures that their pilots took of UFOs were actually genuine. So, folks, the Navy admits UFOs are real. Now, that being said, now that the Navy has admitted they're real, we have to go back and look at some reports that happened back in the day that people kind of scoffed at, because the Navy now admits they're real. So we have to do our due diligence and go back and look at these cases again, because maybe these people weren't crazy, maybe they weren't seeing things, maybe they weren't drunk or on drugs or something. Maybe they were telling the truth. Case in point, this is one of the more infamous UFO cases. Took place in 1973 in Louisiana. A man named Charlie Hickson, he was 42 at the time, and another man named Calvin Parker, he was 19. They worked at the shipyard there in Louisiana, and they went to, after the work they decided they wanted to go fishing. So they headed out to the river with their fishing rods. Very common in that area, very common all throughout the South. For those of you who don't understand the peace and the serenity of nighttime fishing, don't knock it. Okay, don't knock it till you try it. There's some oomph to that. At any rate, about 9 p.m., they're out at the Pascagoula River, and they're fishing off the pier, and they heard a buzzing sound behind them. So they turn around and look. About 10 yards away, hovering above the water, they see a UFO. And a doorway opens, and 3 creatures come out. 3. And these creatures are about 5 foot tall. They're humanoids. They have no neck. They're pale with wrinkles, very thick legs, ending like elephant feet. They have no eyes, but where their nose and their ears are, they have these carrot-like projections. Look like cones, you know. And they had lobster claws. This is what the men reported. Okay? Now, both men reported being paralyzed and numb, and these creatures somehow levitated them into the craft. Anyway, okay, they endured some kind of a physical exam with a floating eye. That's what they said. It was like a floating eye, and it did some sort of an examination. And apparently it did both of them. And then they put them back on the shore, and they left. Just left them there. After much deliberation, excuse me. After much deliberation, they decided they wanted to report this, because if this was happening to other people, you know, they didn't want other people to go through this, and, you know. So they called Kessler Air Force Base, and they were instructed to report it to their local law enforcement, their sheriffs. Excuse me. The sheriff initially thought that it was a hoax or some kind of a trick, you know. UFOs on the Pascagoula River in Louisiana, come on. So what the sheriff did, he wanted to catch them in this hoax. So he put them together in a room, and they had listening devices in there, and they recorded them. They recorded their conversation. The idea being, these guys would talk amongst themselves and give it up somehow. You know, hey, I think we really got it going on this, you know, that kind of thing. Instead, what they got was a dialogue between the two that was pretty damn frightening. These guys were scared. They were really, really scared. Okay? I mean, this obviously was not a hoax. The sheriff immediately figured, you know, there's something to this. These guys believed what they were saying, and they were scared. They were scared. Now, Later on, we find out that on the day before, 15 people, including 2 law enforcement officers, had reported seeing a UFO in the area. So there's corroboration there. People saw the UFO. The sheriff corroborated their story by secretly recording their conversation. Okay, and they've stuck by this. This was in 1973 in Louisiana, and these guys, they're very down to earth people. They don't have wild imaginations. This is a very, very credible case. Okay, these guys saw something that they can't explain. They experienced something that was very much abnormal. It wasn't a normal occurrence. So, night fishing, highly recommend it. Stress relief, nice and calm, serene setting. UFO abduction, not so much. But, you know, again, I don't know if this is true or not. I'm not making any claims one way or the other. But now that the U.S. Navy has admitted that UFOs are real, we have to look back on some of these cases with some credibility, with some discernment there, because a lot of these people have been persecuted and stigmatized, and maybe they're telling the truth. I'll leave that for you folks to decide. You folks have a good day. God bless one and all.